Hi, my name is Haley. I'm here with Wild Hand, and today I'm going to show you how to work a purl stitch, which are all these little bumps you see here, and they look like knit stitches on the reverse side. I'm going to be showing you how to work the purl stitch with these Leica straight needles and this monostyl Uruguay cardo. Both the yarn and the needles will be linked in the description box below. I've just worked the knit row, so I'm going to go ahead and turn my work to start purling. So the purl stitch can be worked two ways: continental with the yarn in the left hand or English with the yarn in the right hand. And I'm going to start with continental, but I'll show you both ways. So I'm going to wrap the yarn around my finger. I'm going to do these stitches just to get them out the way, and let's get started. So to purl, you want to make sure that your yarn is in the front of your work, meaning that it's in front of your left hand needle. And you are going to insert your right hand needle from right to left, back to front. And I'll show you what that looks like when you're knitting. So you will have your yarn up and you're going to go behind your yarn into the stitch purlwise. Using your left hand, you're going to push that yarn down. With the right hand needle, you'll pull it back through, making a new stitch on your right needle, so you can drop the stitch off of your left needle. And then you'll do it again. You'll insert purlwise, wrap the yarn around, slip that old stitch off, insert, wrap, pull it through, slip the old stitch off. Over and over again. And that is all there is to the purl stitch. It's essentially knitting backwards. So on the other side of this fabric, everything will look like a knit stitch. If you wrap the yarn this way, all of the stitches on the needle will be mounted in this direction, which is the normal direction that knit stitches are mounted. And this is important because there's one more way to work a purl stitch continental, which is to insert your needle purlwise and wrap the yarn from underneath the needle. This is called combination knitting, and I like this way because as a continental knitter, it's so much simpler and faster and requires a lot less handwork. If you choose to work your purl stitches like this, they'll be mounted in the opposite direction. Keep this in mind because when we come around to work our next row of knit stitches, we're going to enter the stitch like this. It looks as if we're knitting through the back loop, but we're actually not. And you have to enter the stitch in this direction in order to keep your stitches from getting twisted. If you wanted to purl one of these stitches, you would come from underneath that back side like this, and then you would just wrap the yarn under and purl, and in your final fabric everything will balance out and it'll look exactly like it would if you were to purl or knit in the regular direction like this. It's all personal preference based on what feels most comfortable to you. There's a slight difference in combination knitting when your fabric has texture to it, but for the most part no one would be able to tell the difference. So enough continental, let me show you how to do English style purling. For English purling, our yarn is on our right side, but I don't wrap it around my finger. I just leave it hanging. You can wrap it if you want to. You're going to enter the stitch purlwise, same as you did if you were holding the yarn in your left hand, and you're going to wrap it around the needle counterclockwise. And then you'll pull it back, and when you have a new stitch on your right needle, you drop the stitch off your left needle. So it's the same thing. If you have a loose one, you can just kind of pull it a little bit and wrap it around, bring it to the back, and drop off the old stitch. So as you can probably see, it's almost the exact same thing, and the only difference is how you're holding your needles and wrapping the yarn. So the stitch is the same, the fabric will be the same in the end, and it just comes down to, again, how you feel most comfortable. And as you can see, I'm just using my left hand fingers to hold those two needles together while I let go of my right hand needle to pick up the yarn. So wrapping the yarn around the needle like this is referred to as throwing, and using the needle to grab the yarn is referred to as picking, if you ever come across those terms. You can knit English combination style. You would just wrap the yarn underneath like this and pull it through. I find for English style, wrapping the yarn in the opposite direction doesn't save me much time. Your stitches will still be mounted in the opposite direction, just like they are with continental, but there are other benefits to combination knitting, and if you're interested in those, you can subscribe to this channel for that upcoming video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.